Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning.
Happy Monday.
It is the most hungover day of the year, isn't it? Professional working day of the year, but not over here. Not in this household.
Not here.
Same. Not here. I was in bed by 9 o'clock, so life was good.
The craziest thing I did was make tuna melts. So,
I'd say, how was the brandy wine experience with Super Bowl watch party potentially? Did you go all out?
You was just counting all that money printing from New Orleans. Let's be honest.
Yeah. We just had one friend over and I made some wings and tuna melts, and it was we were on the chill spectrum this year.
Love that.
How many times did you update the account during the game?
It was on a Sunday. So, but I am hitting, I was, this morning hitting the dashboard of like, okay, like, when are we going to see it? But it'll be like, people are checking out today, so you'll see tomorrow. I still am so curious about all these people that checked out yesterday, like what their game plan was.
Obviously, party all night and get on the first flight home.
Yeah, I know. And so far, knock on wood, it was like pretty tame. There were no emergency calls. We think this morning, it's going to be a little interesting having people who chose to not buy a late checkout realize that 11 a.m. comes early when you're potentially still drunk. So maybe next week there'll be some crazy stories.
What's another $150 if they've already spent $2,000 a night on a room? So
seriously,
no big deal.
Seriously. Well, I wasn't rolling in money like Brandy is going to be after everyone checks out, but I did win $300 from betting on the Eagles. So I'm pretty excited. $300 into my gas tank, maybe into some other things in life. So it felt good. That was a big win.
That's what's up. We'll take it.
We'll take it anywhere we can. Michael, did you guys do anything fun with the kids or early night?
Yeah, well, late night. The kids were up a little later than normal. Kristen was out of town all weekend, so
Dad's home.
Well, she got home, and then they were very excited and didn't settle down at normal bedtime. So, but yeah, nothing wild. Little 6-year-old birthday party this weekend for one of Oliver's friends. Dad life.
Dadder day. Did you have a Dadder day?
Well, this kid is a part of the Dadder Day group, so we did birthday party instead of Dadder Day. Yeah,
nice. That's what's up. I love it. Well, we have quite the busy agenda today, so let's get into it. But the first things first, and we got to give our amazing partners at Fido a big shout out, because just like I was at an STR yesterday during my friend's Super Bowl watch party, I kind of had the thought of like, oh my gosh, so many Airbnb parties or Super Bowl watch parties are happening at short-term rentals. So what other way to help your team and your guests by not letting them hold the bag, aka the trash bag, and having to deal with all that garbage and taking it to the curb and making sure it was out for trash day? You can actually get Fido and have them take care of the trash. So your team is only holding the bag that matters, and that is the bag of cash as they're going to the bank. So shout out to Fido. Go to getfido.com to sign up today for their bin to curb service. That is getfido, FIDO.com. And you can learn more there and tell them that you heard it from the podcast, Good Morning Hospitality, and they'll take great care of you. So shout out to Fido. Shortly after this, I'm going to have to run and take this out because it is stinking at my office. So just an FYI.
Commitment to the bit. Commitment to the bit. For sure.
I love the props. That was it's a lot more to handle than a small bag of delicious coffee. So
100%.
I love it.
Yeah, but gotta give them a good proper shout out. So shout out to the team over there. They've been too good to us. So wanted to give a little fun, interesting ad today. But without further ado, like we said, we have a lot to cover and want to get into probably the number one topic of the week, which is Vacasa buyout drama. So, Michael, do you actually want to lead us in for kind of the story at hand?
Yeah. So Thursday or Friday, Davidson Kempner, who is a board member of Vacasa, signaled that they're interested in buying Vacasa at a higher premium than what Casago had offered. So there's a lot of implications that go along with this, which we want to get into. But initial thoughts on a late entrant. First of all, I didn't know it was legal. But is this the right move for the industry? And Will, I know you had some thoughts on that, and then we can get to Brandy's thoughts on what's actual feasible and likely to play out.
Yeah, I will say just my thoughts on if this is the right move for the industry. I'm passionately going to say no. This offer from DK is not going to change anything. Brandy made the best point behind the scenes, and it's the same story. It's just going to continue the cycle if DK is the winning offer versus a strategic acquirer like Casago, who is an actual operator who would change the model to make it more sustainable for the business itself. So from an industry standpoint, I think this is a horrible offer to even consider. It's technically, which we'll break down, and shout out to Ashley Ching from InHaven for breaking down a lot of the kind of financial pieces of it, but it's only really going to be about 5 cents more if Vacasa goes with the DK offer per share, which I just think is very short-sighted, but I know that's not how the private equity and finance world works. So obviously, there's a lot to consider, but I think it's a poor decision.
Yeah, when the news broke about this, I think the three of us, is really the whole industry wide, was excited about Casago taking over Vacasa because it's something different. And we went through the chain of ownership that led to Vacasa, Turnkey and Wyndham and all the others that came before them had pretty much the same model. And finally, somebody with a different plan comes to the table. And I don't think Davidson Kempner is going to really come in and shake up the status quo. My take is they're either trying to drive up the price from Casago or try and work their way into some level of ownership of the deal with Casago. So whichever one it is, at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to get in the way of Casago taking over the ownership. If it does, I agree with you, Will, that it's not the best result for the industry. It's not where I would personally like to see things shake out. But at the end of the day, Vacasa's whole job is to get the highest premium for the company that they can. And, they don't care who buys it as long as they get the most money out of it as possible. A lot of team members at Vacasa might think differently. Certainly a lot of people over at Casago will think differently. But at the end of the day, what's good for the industry is Casago takes this over and we give the franchise model at scale a really good hard look and enough units under management, under brand to really prove out the model. And if they can come out and prove out the model, then I guarantee you there's going to be 3 or 4 others that get really significant investment to go do the same.
For sure.
There are a couple other franchise players right now, but nobody at Casago's level. And then furthermore, nobody at Casago's level.
Yeah, sure. I think that this is the kind of of the 3 scenarios, Casago and DK having some sort of deal, I think is the most likely. I think this was kind of a play to get in there and, not lose out. We had talked about how the, total return for DK under the Casago deal is 17%. And we're like, oh, that's pretty good return. But if you think about what these funds are looking for over the period of time, that is not what they are looking for. That is not the return they're hoping for. So, and Will, I definitely agree with you that you have this David and Goliath thing going on right now, even though Costco is a very large David. You have going against kind of the money man, and that just seems a bit soulless. Like, okay, we're just going to take kind of one of the jewels, albeit kind of maybe the more troubled jewels of the industry, and you're just going to give it away or, let it fall by the wayside. And I think that that's difficult I don't think that will happen. I think that there's too much like at stake, and DK, I don't think they really want to come in and, be responsible for the management of this business and installing a new team or whatever. They just want to make their money back. So that's why I believe the Costco deal with some sort of DK, participation is most likely.
Yeah, if they had it solely by themselves and Costco wasn't involved in the deal, I could see Vacasa crumbling very quickly afterwards. Like, it would be, all right, investors, return money. Here you go. See ya. Like, on to the next. Which again would have a huge ripple effect inside of our industry. And maybe for the listeners and potential live viewers who are looking on screen, I think Ashley again just broke this down very, very clearly on how this kind of works and why the math is mathing the way it is, with the 17% profit increase, or not increase, but 17% return to Davidson Kemper, versus like why their share bid was only a few cents higher. It really does involve like the breakup fee. So that would mean Vacasa has to pay out Costco, I think 4.1 million for the breakup fee, and it gives Davidson Kemper a better scale, basically based on the unit count and protection against their investment and all this other stuff. So, Michael, I know you had more thoughts, but I just thought it was a very nicely broken down post for those who are trying to follow along with the numbers and the constant back and forth. There's a lot of opinions out there, and with ChatGPT, everyone's becoming a news reporter these days. So I think Ashley's was the better one of all the posts that I saw.
Yeah. Well, first off, I don't think we've mentioned this, but the offer from DK is non-binding. They have until late this week to make it an official binding offer. So again, this could just be a ploy to try and get themselves into the deal. It could be a ploy to get Costco to freak out and drive up the price artificially without any firm offer. But if they get it in, then Costco has 3 days to match that offer regardless. Yep. So whatever they come in with, Costco can still match and win the bid if they even come in with one. Mm-hmm. So that's point number one. Point number two, Vacasa, I won't even call it an IPO. They SPAC'd in 2021, the end of 2021. So it's been 3.5 years since they went public. They've had massive turnover at leadership, and rightfully so. And if they don't have a massive shakeup again, this has been a slow moving death for a long time. Mm-hmm. It never hit profitability. Operationally, it's been a mess. There's probably people that could come in and turn it around. But again, to Will's point at the top, what's good for the industry, I think, is testing out a new model. I mean, their hotels have succeeded in doing what they do in the franchise model. And all of the major players are franchises. So why have we not taken that hint for a decade? When did Airbnb start? 15 years ago. And no one's come out with, at a significant scale, a franchise model. So I'm all for it. I'm really rooting for the Costco team. I want to see the franchise model proven out, and really a resurgence of short-term rentals. I was with the CEO of Wyndham's Vacation Rental Group a long time ago, probably 8-9 years ago, before they sold to Vacasa. And she said that Wyndham is the only brand that anyone's ever heard of in vacation rentals. And I challenged her that no regular person had even known that Wyndham does vacation rentals.
Yeah.
So the only brands at the time were HomeAway and Airbnb. That's all that anybody, you walk down the street and that's what people know. So I hope that we can get to a level that people know household names of certain vacation rental companies. It's still probably a ways off on that, but I'm a big fan of the franchise model, and I really hope that it comes together.
Yeah, I think that that's part of, whether it's franchised or just decentralized, having your team on the ground running the operations is key. And I think that, with Vacasa and a lot of the other really large STR brands, as you get bigger, it does make sense in some sense to, consolidate everything. You're like, oh, think of all like the economies of scale, all the savings, blah, blah, blah. And then you get to a point where you realize, oh, actually by doing all of that and maybe some of the cost savings you've had by just having everything more centralized, the quality of your product is starting to slip. And then that creates that flywheel, that negative, or I guess a positive feedback loop in a negative way of deteriorating quality and lower revenue and all of that stuff.
I just feel like you lose the pulse of the business, right? Like you don't really know what's going on when you go so centralized, like you said, Brandy, like that. It just kind of gets you out of touch, right? Like it just I don't know. You lose the lifeblood of what kind of made the product good, and we could kind of debate if Vacasa's product was ever good based on how they started and SPAC and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think the decentralized model where Casago or another franchise can come in and really let the owner on the ground take over. It's the way to go. You don't lose that pulse.
Yeah. So my prediction by the end of the week is that DK has a small stake in the offering as a joint, as a part of the JV with Casago. You guys agree or see anything differently?
I agree.
I don't want to agree, but I agree. I just hope it. I want Casago to win. I don't want to have any type of weaselly extra partner work their way in, and I will call it. It feels like a weasel or snaky type of way to get into the deal. So, yeah, not my ideal outcome, but yeah, I think you guys are probably right.
Well, Steve, stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Follow along with continued breaking news. But the next topic, this one gets real fun, and it's going to be very interesting on this episode. But let's kick it off with our next topic, which is going to be the green travel myth. Are guests really willing to pay more for sustainability? And the answer is no, based on Booking.com's data and Glenn Fogel. But Brandy, I would love for you to open.
So there's a Skift article about Glenn Fogel coming out, CEO of Booking Holdings, saying that travelers are not paying more for sustainability. And this is not like an opinion piece. This is based off of Booking.com's data. They are arguably one of the largest, if not the largest OTA in our space. So they have the data. And I think that this just, people won't want to hear this, but price is king right now. And I mean, especially if you are in an area that is having some sort of economic difficulties, this is, a global brand, you're not going to be super concerned about the sustainability aspect. And also on platforms like Booking.com, I don't know if customers really have the belief that the badge or the leaf that you have or whatever it is means anything. And the true sort of eco-friendly, sustainable lodging options tend to be more ultra luxury, and that only caters to a certain segment of the population. Where if you're looking at booking your family's vacation, you have 6 people, you're going to probably go with the cheapest option that fits all of the criteria you're looking for. And unfortunately, right now, sustainability is something that everybody is yes, that's great, but they want somebody else to be the one doing it.
Also,
and
go ahead, Michael.
As an operator, the sustainable options are very rarely the less expensive ones. I think disposables is the one thing that is both more sustainable and less expensive typically. But I mean, anything else, making your hotel or short-term rental green certified, cutting down on emissions or carbon footprint or whatever, all of that is generally more expensive, which means guests have to be willing to pay a premium. And Glenn Fogel says after years of data that they are not seeing any correlation between green badges or sustainability badges and increased revenues.
Yeah, I was gonna say the sustainability badges mean nothing. Just like I made a post earlier that the hot take of the Superhost badge now kind of means nothing in some shape or form as well, right? Like these OTAs or trust verification badges really truly mean nothing, and they cost a pretty penny, I would say, to get a part of. And so my thinking is, if you really want to be a brand that's sustainable and going more eco-friendly, you can put that money, don't give it to these badge companies, actually put it towards sustainable practices like hotels. Stop printing out guest registration forms for them to sign and fill out when they check in. That's a big waste of paper. I had the founder of this company called Foxfold on Slick Talk and talking about the actual waste of paper products like toilet paper and tissues, et cetera, right? There's all these things that go to waste inside properties at scale, like a hotel and within a vacation home. And if you're really wanting to make your company sustainable, I think there's way more creative ways and actual impact the ecosystem that you can do to make an experience. I've seen hotels have beekeeping on property. So you can have a beekeeping tour and honey that's actually brought in from the hive. You can do tree planting and actually make an experience on property with these glamping resorts and landscape hotels. There's way more actual sustainability or sustainable ways to make your business sustainable and impacting the world way better. So I think it's a big greenwash. But go ahead.
It's a great point that you can make these things part of the experience. And it's a great experience. The beekeeping and planting trees, or even just having kids pick fruit off of trees that have been planted, right? The getting back to nature, and the more people are connected with nature, the more they'll take care of it.
Yeah, and a lot of hotels have their own garden, where that's part of their restaurant, and
rooftop gardens.
Which we saw at Auburn, right?
Yep. Yeah. And those things are really cool. It's all part of the experience. So you can charge a premium for premium experiences. And if they are sustainable, then that's a huge added benefit. But I do agree, just saying you're green or just saying you're sustainable isn't enough. If you want to be in that niche, you need to have the experiences that tie in with it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And also that this kind of disconnect between expressed values and actual values and booking behavior. If you're someone as a traveler who is really eco-conscious, you really want that to be something that you live by, you're going to self-select into maybe going glamping or going to that cabin rather than going to the hotel in the major city. And I think that, and this is just my opinion, but that some of these badges or labels of being sustainable, if you are an urban hotel with, as a generalization, people are just, if they say, oh, I booked this because it's eco-friendly, it's just to make themselves feel better. If you're going on a vacation to one of these, huge vacation destinations, it's not that important to you, or you would be going camping or glamping or something that's more out in nature.
Not getting in a plane and flying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, another example of this is like, if you do Google Flights or whatever, it tells you like the CO2 emissions. And first it's like, I mean, the fact that they're trying to make any sort of airline travel seem eco-friendly is laughable, because it can't be. And it's also like, okay, well, if that flight is like $900 and the other flights are like $350, I'm not going to choose the $900 flight, And so I think there are bigger changes to the system, like making some of these sustainable practices actually more affordable. What are some ways because our industry is so tight on margins most of the time, it is not feasible to ask a business owner to shrink those already shrinking margins without the proof that someone's going to pay more for that.
Yeah. I also want to make the comment, and this is also my opinion, but if you are going to become an eco-sustainable brand and you want to do the like reusables and the refillables and all these things and do this and do that, that usually costs you a little bit more money as an operator to do. That's your choice to do that at that cost. It should not be a cost, like Brandy said, to pass on to the customer because you're trying to make them feel better because it's eco-friendly or whatever. Like the CO2 emissions example that you gave, Brandy, is a perfect example. $900 for option A or $350 for option B. I'm going with B every time. If you are a sustainable brand and you want to offer sustainable service at the same price, I'm happy to pick yours, but I'm not going to pay more for it. It's not a cost that should be passed down to the consumer. You're going to be the one that chooses how to, to do that as your own brand. So that's a choice you make. You should lay in that bed yourself.
Well, I would say like the exception to that is like these really high end resorts. Like,
yes, but you're not seeing a nightly rate on their website that shows the stay in our eco-friendly dome versus our non-eco-friendly dome for
you're just staying in the dome
more a night. Yeah, like it's baked into the rate. It's not like a advertising scheme that makes them look bigger and better than they are, and all this other stuff. So
I think it all comes down to the buyers or travelers' preferences, and what Glenn Fogel's points were is basically writ large, people are going to choose price over amenity, X. In this case, amenity X is sustainability. That doesn't mean that there isn't a niche of people that will pay a premium for sustainability. People pay a premium for a bag, a purse that holds the same amount of stuff that another purse does. But it makes them feel better about themselves.
About the feeling the purse gives you, Michael.
Makes them feel better about themselves, right? It makes them look good and get their Instagram. But that's fine. Like if you're in a targeted niche, exploit it's the wrong word, but dive into it and really lean into it. But if you're trying to go for mass market W's, a lot of times people might even correlate this is green or sustainable with higher priced, period, just even having that. So I mean, I think interesting data from Booking, kind of maybe slightly against what I would have guessed, what my own personal thesis would have been, but data trumps.
Yeah 100%. Well, go ahead.
No, I just think it's also interesting. Based off of like how things are going economically, I would be more curious to see some of like the deeper breakdowns of their data, and like, are there certain segments that are really willing to pay for that premium? Like, what are those like? And then who is just like cheapest, like sorting price low to high, picking the first one that shows up.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's I'm with Michael too. I was not expecting that to be, because they've pushed a lot of eco-sustainability in the past as a brand from aka booking.com. So to see that they're admitting their data is against what they've been pushing in the sense of sustainability and price, then it was surprising. But again, I think there's I'm a big, just on a personal note, I'm a big person like that's into beekeeping. Like I want to get a hive like out here ASAP. I buy a lot of bee products. I think bees are really important to the environment, and I'm a big fan of the oceans and how the oceans are getting 1%, like 1 degree warmer. It could affect the whole coral reef system, which is a huge impact on our oceans. Like, I like that stuff and I'm interested in it, but there's real problems that require real solutions. And right now, I just don't think an eco badge is that solution. So save your money, your $200 or $500 or $1,000 a year, and put it towards actual practices that will make your business sustainable, financially and environmental wise. Anyways, any closing thoughts before we wrap up? You guys have anything for the group, for the listeners, for the live viewers? Shout out to Terry White, who's commented in always, every Monday. We love Terry. Shout out to you. Anything
No,
fun?
I mean, I'm excited and anxious to see how the Costco drama plays out. But I think in the end, Costco is going to win, whether they have to up their price, let others in. But regardless, we're excited to see how it plays out.
For sure. And shout out to Steve Schwab, who is also tuning in live right now. His comment for the listeners: we have to find an intersection of ecosystem and economics so that way we can have a cost neutral pricing for more eco-friendly rentals. Amen. Very well said. So love that.
You don't have to choose. You don't have to pay more to get the benefits. 100%.
Well, what do you guys got on the docket this week? Anything fun, exciting, anything you could share? You know, Michael better not say same old, but you know, if he does, it's whatever.
Just working on some rezoning with the county. So that's not the same old. I've never done this before. First timer over here. So
love it.
Yeah. And we're, it's probably going to be a post-mortem on Super Bowl, things that went well and didn't go well. So, but mostly went well. And yeah, I mean, I think it's my turn to say same old. We're in the middle of our high season right now. So it's just keeping everything moving.
For sure. Well, I have a bunch of meetings today, but I'm really excited because one of my meetings is with Jonathan Wicks from Well and Good, who has officially showcased that we have our 12-ounce coffee bags, which are eco-friendly and sustainable and organic. So shout out to Well and Good Morning Coffee. We have subscription.
They don't cost the same as Folgers either. So
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's really excited stuff. I'm excited for our coffee growth and some other announcements actually to share on the GMH page and channels on Thursday. So for any loyalist listeners, there's going to be quite the big announcement. So stay tuned. Outside of that, we hope everyone has a great and amazing week. Stay happy, stay busy, and always remember to be a good morning person. Goodbye.